Hello there, Brandon Barber with the Brandon Barber Coaching Group. Today I want to talk about phone calls. I'm sitting here in my office with my phone and I don't want to make phone calls. I do not want to make them. Part of me doesn't want to make them because I know that I'm going to get rejection on the other end because I've got rejection in the past. Part of me doesn't want to make them because I don't want to be restricted by having to make them. Part of me doesn't want to make these phone calls because I know nobody's going to be home. Or I'm just going to sit here and get voicemail after voicemail, which I'll leave a voicemail and then nobody will return my call. Has anybody ever felt like that? Stuck here with your phone, not wanting to make phone calls. I'm in my home office. I've made them 1,000 times before, but I don't want to make prospecting calls. It feels like I'm drained. I'm exhausted. It feels like I have this fatigue and I just don't want to make them. I just don't feel like it. Is this a pivotal moment? This is a pivotal moment for me. This is a crucial moment for all of you who have had this very same thing happen. So in this pivotal moment, what do? So I'm looking at the phone. What is it that I choose to do in this very moment? Do I make the phone calls? Do I not make the phone calls? Because it would feel a whole lot better right now if I went in my room and took a nap, or if I found some other distraction, if I went down and did the laundry. I could do 1,000 things. I could find distraction after distraction. I'm hoping this phone's going to ring and it's somebody with some distraction or interruption. Anything to keep me from making these phone calls that I'm dreading making. Have you or has anybody ever felt this way? Well, here's what I do in this pivotal moment. Because I know that if I make these phone calls, it's going to be productive to some degree, right? I may not get anybody that says, yes, I want your services today or I want your product today. But I know this, if I make these phone calls, I'll feel better about me. I'll feel more excited about what I'm doing. My self-esteem will grow. There's a cycle that happens in this moment. I'll talk good about myself if I follow through with these phone calls. I know that. If I don't, I'm going to go through, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I make those phone calls? How come I'm not doing things like I'm supposed to be doing them? What's going on? What's wrong with me? And if I ask that question, what's wrong with me? My brain's going to answer. And my brain's not going to answer very nicely. It'll tell me all the things that are wrong with me. It may even make a few things up. So this is a tough place. This is a pivotal moment. Do I or don't I follow through with these phone calls? Now, here's the thing I know. If I make these phone calls, I'm going to start talking good about myself, right? That's where I'm going to start communicating effectively. The internal dialogue will sound good. I've never made these phone calls and then my brain's gone, what's wrong with you, dummy? Why'd you make those calls? That was really stupid of you. It's never happened. I've never made phone calls and then followed through and gone, what in the heck is my problem? It's always the opposite. Good job, well done. You did it. Whew, you follow through, right? Has anybody ever had that experience where you follow through with something and then you say, good job. The internal dialogue sounds good. And now all of a sudden, I feel like I am in control. I'm in control of my business. I am absolutely fully in control of what I do on a daily basis. I feel like I have control because I made phone calls. I feel like I have power in my business. I have control and power. If I don't make them, I don't feel like I have any control. I don't feel like I have any power. I'm out of control. I don't have any power in my business. And then what happens? It negates more of that. It creates more of me not making phone calls. So I know if I make these phone calls, there's something very important that can happen. My self-dialogue, my internal dialogue will sound good. I'll start to praise myself instead of beat myself up. Number one. Number two, I'm going to feel like I have control and power over my business. Like I can do something. I have control. I have power. I have strength. And ultimately, I feel free. Because if I don't make these phone calls right now, I'm going to go throughout the rest of my day with this guilt within me. You guys know what this guilt is, right? And it's like this monkey on your back that stays there all day. So now later on, when I'm doing other activities throughout the rest of my day, let's say it's noon here, I've got 45 minutes before my next appointment. Can I make these phone calls? Should I make them? I know if I don't, throughout the rest of the day, it's going to hang over me. And then by the time 3 o'clock comes and I still haven't made those phone calls and I got another scheduled appointment, I'm going to feel guilty. And then I know at 4:30 or 5 o'clock when I'm with my kids tonight, my family, and we want to do something fun, I'm going to remember I didn't make those phone calls. I didn't do it. And I'm going to feel guilty. And things aren't going to be as enjoyable. I'm going to be more irritated. I'm not going to feel as good about myself. So am I truly showing up for the people in my life that I need to? All from making these phone calls? Am I going to show up for the kids in my kids in my life? Am I going to show up for the people in my life that are the most important if I don't follow through with what I tell myself to do? And the answer is probably not, because of the guilt, the monkey on your back. It feels like it weighs a ton. And we're already doing all these things in life to do the best we can. So why wouldn't I make the phone calls? 45 minutes. 45 minutes worth of phone calls. Why wouldn't I do it? It feels restrictive. You don't want to do it. Here's what I'm going to do, though. After recognizing and thinking ahead of time at all that stuff of how I'm going to feel in 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, at 5 o'clock tonight, it makes me choose to some degree to make these phone calls. Now, there's something we can go do that's even more. We can dig in even deeper. But I'll talk to you about that next time. The first step is to become aware of the phone calls in that moment and your feeling. Do I want to make them? Do I not want to make them? I don't want to make them. But thinking about all the potential dangers if you don't, so that you might decide that it's a good idea to make those phone calls. Pivotal moments, critical moments. So I'll talk to you guys next time about finding the deeper value in making phone calls. So I'll talk to everybody soon. Take care.